All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. It is noon on the dot, so I'm going to give people a minute or two to kind of file in. But this is our first virtual event. So we're super excited to engage in this virtual space for our professional development opportunities. And today we are going to be talking about why, as a young professional in the Rochester area, it would be beneficial to join RYP. So I am joined today by a couple of current RYP members, as well as a few other members of our board. So we're super excited to be talking to you today about our group and all of the amazing opportunities that we work so hard to put on for young professionals in the Rochester area. So we will start with some introductions, and then we will go into an overview of the organization by Matt Zager, who is one of our co-chairs. We will move into a moderated panel just to get some experiences from some current members of the organization. We will be taking some Q&A from attendees. So if you have a question throughout the webinar, feel free to send it in the Q&A option of the chat. We will be addressing those just during that Q&A time. So if something comes up, you think of a question, feel free to send it. Just know we're not ignoring you. We're just going to wait until we get to that Q&A time to answer questions. And then we will wrap up with a kind of overview of next steps from one of our co-directors of professional development, Emma Pollen. So super excited to dive into it. So let's start with some introductions. We'll start with some of the RYP board members that we have on the call. I'll start just by introducing myself. My name is Sarah Kells. I am a co-director of professional development along with Emma. I work in the higher education sector, and I have lived in Rochester now for about 4 years coming up on. I'm actually a Rochester transplant. I moved from Buffalo about 4 years ago. And I'm going to ask all of our panelists to share their favorite place to eat in Rochester as well. And I'm going to have to say my favorite place to eat is Vern's on Park Ave. So sorry if I took that one from anyone else. But I'm going to pass it off now to Matt to introduce himself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Matt Zager. I have the privilege of being one of the board co-chairs for Rochester Young Professionals. I have lived in Rochester since 2000, and I think my favorite place to eat is Good Luck, with a very close second being Velvet Belly. So looking forward to sharing more about RYP today, and I'll pass it over to Emma.
Hey everyone, my name is Emma Pollen. I am an attorney at a firm called Stark Latuca. I do residential and commercial real estate and corporate work. I have lived in Rochester since 2010 and did my stints at college and law school outside of Rochester. And I'm gonna concur with Sarah. My favorite place to eat is Vern's.
All right, wonderful. Thank you to our board members who are joining us today. And then we do have some current RYP members on the call. So I would like to do some introductions just so we can put some names to the faces that you're seeing on the screen. So let's start with Anthony, and then we will work our way left to right.
Hi, everybody. Anthony Manette here. Finance and accounting sector, CPA. I'm with a top CPA firm, Witham Smith and Brown here in town. How long have I been here? I prefer not to say. I probably the longest on the call, maybe 34 years. Not born but raised in Rochester. Been here ever since. Favorite place to eat in town. Everyone else can pick fancy restaurants. Picking Fox's Deli over in Henrietta, the New York matzo ball soup. That's my go-to.
All right, let's pass it over to Daniela.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining. My name is Daniela Lanis. I serve in the higher ed space in the enrollment management sector. I've been in Rochester for 2 years, and I would say Burns is my top, but as a side note, Forno Tony is the best for to-go pizza slices, so love a good Forno Tony pizza.
All right, we'll pass it over to Oleg.
Hello, everyone. My name is Oleg, and it's good to have you today with us. And I'm currently working at healthcare in a pharmacy at UR. But additionally, my huge passion and my huge dedication is related with financial field. I'm very closely related with financial forecasting in crypto, in futures, and in forex space. And actually, as you maybe hear by my accent, I am not from United States. I moved from Ukraine like 2 years ago. Regarding my favorite place, I would say it's La Casa, related with Mexican food, and I would probably highlight enchiladas. And as well, I could highlight another event which is happening once in a year in Irandikoy in Ukrainian festival.
Wonderful, thank you. And then last but not least, over to Samantha.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Samantha Morgan. I'm a graphic designer within the defense sector. And then I've lived in Rochester for about 19 years, including growing up here for the most part. And then I'd say that my favorite place to eat in Rochester is Cure. It's this really small French restaurant inside the public market, and it's absolutely delicious.
Wonderful, thank you everybody. And I promise we are not sponsored by Burns or any of these other restaurants, but good, always good to share good food, right? So we will now shift into an overview of RYP. So Matt Zager is going to be speaking to some of the history of RYP, some of our core values, and then he'll be highlighting our growth and some of the events that we've held since our relaunch. So I will now pass it over to Matt.
Thanks, Sarah. And again, welcome to everybody who's here. This is actually probably a little long overdue for us to do something in this space where we can just share more about RYP. I will just jump in. So yeah, RYP originally was started back in the early 2000s. It was incredibly vibrant. I am approached by former RYP members, people that say that they've quote unquote aged out, even though our running joke is we don't card. So everybody and anybody is welcome. But it was incredibly vibrant in the 2010s. We've heard stories, seen pictures from the past board and from the past members about multiple, like 3 or 4 events a month, which is like once a week, which seems crazy as somebody who's helped to revive this, and I'll touch on that in a second. But just an incredibly vibrant community. Heard stories about lifelong friendships being formed. I actually got to meet somebody a few months ago who knew that I was a part of RYP, and they were like, I met my husband at an RYP event. So just a really cool space. It was, again, just that vibrant community here in Rochester in those like 2010 to unfortunately 2020, which is, we all know what happened then. And so RYP, like many in-person things, shut down. They had tried to do some virtual events with limited success, I would say. I think, as we all know, with the world switching over to virtual, whether it was work or play or just, you know, trying to stay connected to people, I think we all got a little burned out. So I think for RYP, they just kind of made the difficult decision to kind of shut things down. And then that kind of brings us right to last year. I know she's on the call, so I'm going to embarrass her a little bit, but Izzy Loughlin, one of my partners in crime here as co-chair of the board, and then also Jordan Crowley. The three of us had gotten connected, gosh, probably about 2 years ago now, working in this space of bringing people together. And we started to poke around and we're asking, like, what's going on with RYP? And so we were able to connect with the last president of RYP in 2020, Andrew Brady. And we had long conversations and we shared our kind of thoughts and hopes for what RYP could be in this relaunch. And he graciously, generously, basically turned the keys over to us. And so Izzy and I and Jordan, in January of 2025, pulled together a tremendous board. I'll get to speak about our board in a little bit here, but we pulled together this incredible group. And by February, so about 3 or 4 weeks later, we had pulled together a relaunch event. And that relaunch event took place at Black Button Distilling. And I remember signing the contract with Black Button being like, you guys have to make sure you have at least a minimum of 50 people. And I was like, well, I probably have about 50 people on LinkedIn that I can drag to this event. So like, cross my fingers. Hopefully we'll get enough people there. And it turned out we had over 140 people sign up for this event. And I think, I don't want to talk for the other board members or the other co-chairs, but for me, what it really showed was this is needed, right? This is needed here in Rochester. And so when we were relaunching and having discussions on our hopes and dreams for RYP, there are some non-negotiables. I mean, again, I'm going to steal something from Izzy that she says all the time. There were non-negotiables for us when we were thinking about what this community should be. And so for us, it was incredibly important that we make this affordable and accessible for young professionals. None of us are making millions of dollars. Unless you are, congratulations. But the hope really is to bring people together, right? It is always our hope that we can eliminate as many barriers to entry to join this community as possible. So we make it affordable. We try to make it affordable. We're not here to make money. If there are expenses, it is truly so we can provide food or provide an experience for the members that come out to our events. So that was like the non-negotiable heading into this relaunch. And then also, I think it was important for us to really make sure that we were supplementing the other amazing things that are going on in Rochester and not taking away from them. There are other incredible young professional organizations across our city. There are other just amazing organizations doing tremendous work, and we didn't want to take away from that. So really our focus was, how do we find space that isn't currently being utilized, and make sure that we give young professionals a way to get connected. So those were the kind of the building blocks of RYP, and that kind of takes us to today. And yeah, this slide, if anybody else has heard me talk about RYP, I always say our role is to connect people to each other, or people to people, and then people to the community. That is why we're here. So let's see. Okay, so again, as a part of our relaunch, the board took time and really thought about what are our core values. What is this community going to stand for? What do we want to make sure that people know about RYP? I'm not going to read through them. I hope they're pretty self-explanatory, but this is really important, because this is what RYP's community is really built on. We really want to ensure, again, that we're an open space where everybody feels comfortable, that everybody feels heard, and quite honestly, everybody feels appreciated. So happy to dive more into that if there are questions later, but just wanted to touch on that. And then our 4 pillars. So yes, we are definitely a networking group. I like to say, and I know this is being recorded, so I guess I should be a little careful, but we are not the business card passing organization. I don't think I've seen it in our year and a half of being back, where people have been exchanging business cards. I mean, they have, I'm sure, but really what we're built on is building connections with each other. I personally believe that personal connections will transform our professional experiences later. And I also believe that this community, we are the next generation of leaders. So these connections that we're building now are going to serve us so well in the future, serve the Greater Rochester community so well in the future. If I can call my buddy Anthony and be like, hey, I need CPA help or something like that, or even Samantha being like, I need help with marketing. Building these connections and building your network is just such an important part of building a strong community. So that's the networking piece. Then we also like to have fun. I'm sure you've seen posts about our amazing kickball team, who I don't want to like spoil this, but just got their first victory this week. Yeah. So congrats to our amazing kickball team. But in that, we don't just do competitive sports. We did a Pilates class a while ago. We have a fun little golf scramble coming up later. And then we're also looking for other ways just to get people moving. We've talked about like walking groups and running groups and stuff like that. So really the sports and rec is just getting people out, getting people moving. Professional development, it is something as an organization that we feel strongly that our professional development programming is going to be things that you aren't taught in school. So maybe less the technical, tangible things, and more it's going to be about things that you should know that don't, right? We just had a Finance 101 class in April that was led by 3 of our fantastic board members. And they just talked about the, banking basics, investment basics, and then the importance of will and estates, estate planning. And so those are the types of professional development programming that is really important to us. It's training, it's sharing information about, information to young professionals that honestly, most of us just have to figure out. So we're trying to eliminate those struggles that many of us have gone through already. And then volunteering. We do a lot. A group of us was just a part of Day of Caring. We did Clean Sweep the past 2 years for the city of Rochester. And then I think also part of volunteering is just our events that tie into sharing the great work that some of these nonprofit organizations are doing in our city. I will share more about in a little bit. But yes, volunteering is also one of our 4 pillars. This is incredible. So, and shout out to Emily, our other board co-chair, for helping to keep track of all of this. But these numbers are from our relaunch last February. So to date, we have more than 600 members that have joined, which I think is absolutely incredible. Our engagement across socials is, what I'm told is wildly above average, which is super exciting. And I think, again, just going back to like the longevity, I think for Izzy and myself, when we were relaunching, to have a brand that was so recognizable again, and bring that back instead of trying to start something new, I think there's just credibility. And so having to be a part of an organization that has been here in Rochester for over 20 years is just, again, vital to our success. And then, yes, we do a lot of events too. Okay, so these are just some pictures from the past year and a half. I like to highlight these because it really shows the variety and depth of what we're trying to do here in Rochester. So the one on your left, one of the first events after the relaunch is actually a tour of the Susan B. Anthony Museum. A small group went. I unfortunately was not able to go, but we were able to get people to get our group in for an after hours, really intimate tour. So that was fantastic. And then these are some pictures, again, of our more networking, social type events. The middle one makes me laugh because Nikki's just a gem. But that was fun. That was a partnership that we did and we did a silent disco over at Arbor Loft, which is fun. Right, you can see Clean Sweep from last year. And then on the left was actually one of our first professional development events, where we had a panel come in and talk about their experience as young leaders and how they balance their professional success with their family and personal success as well. Just more pictures. I think what I'll say here is we've been very specific in where we have our events. We want to have events at local Rochester-owned businesses. So you've seen some at like Three Heads, and I think there is or was a Pearson's Picture. But we're very careful in where we have our events, because again, we are trying to showcase all of the amazing things that we have going on here in our city. The middle picture here just kind of highlights one of the partnerships that we did this year. But RYP does try to partner with local nonprofit organizations and highlight the work that they're doing. It's really about building awareness within the RYP community for all of these other amazing organizations that we have here. So the middle one was from March, and we did an event with Rochester Hearing and Speech. And then I was mentioning what is called our Level Up series, which was the Finance 101, and that is the picture on the right. And we got to do that at the Cobblestone Creek Country Club. Just some more pictures. There's the Pearson's Picture on the right. Again, you can see a picture we partnered with Dimitri House last fall. And then this spring, kind of like the Susan B. Anthony tour, we did get to go over to the Memorial Art Gallery and do an after hours tour with Swag Bag, and then we had a happy hour after that, and that was just another great event. I will also be honest and say that I never have gone to the MAG, and so it was just, it's like one of those things where it's great. We have all these amazing resources in our community, and it's sometimes just about giving people an opportunity to go and do it with a group instead of going by yourself. So I'm biased. Our summer events are the best. I was joking with the panel earlier. I was like, who's coming to the yacht club in 2 weeks, our yacht club event? As we all know, as Rochesterians, we have a pretty limited amount of time with super nice weather. So we really try to do events that are outside at these kind of really fun, iconic Rochester places. So again, the one on the left is the Rochester Yacht Club event from last year, which is coming up in 2 weeks. So if you haven't signed up, go sign up for that after this. Then we were able to go to Marge's on the lake, which is, I think, like, I heard like one of the top 100 bars or something like in the US on the water, something like that. I think I'm making stuff up. But it was recognized in a newspaper as being just an iconic location. So we did that, and we're doing that again this summer. And then Irondequoit Brewing, which is just, just kidding. That is not Irondequoit Brewing, but that one is coming up later this fall. That one is, remind me where that picture.
I think that was Bitter Honey.
Bitter Honey on the right. Yeah.
Thank you. Bitter Honey, also just a really nice outdoor space. So the gala. So last year we, as I mentioned, relaunched. And so when we were thinking about a fun way to celebrate being back for a year, we were like, what if we did a gala? And then that turned into, what if we did an award ceremony? So this past fall, we had what will hopefully become our annual gala. And we were able to celebrate not only a year of being back, but we were able to celebrate 4 just truly, truly inspiring, amazing young professionals here in Rochester who are doing tremendous things. And we recognize them in alignment with our 4 pillars. So you can see the names and the areas that they represent. But it was just truly a wonderful experience to celebrate as a community of being back. And what I'd also like to say to anybody that's on the call is, like, don't be afraid of our gala. I think there were some people who are like, I don't want to go to another gala. I don't want to. it wasn't a gala. I mean, it was, but it wasn't. It's the fun. We tried to make it fun, kind of less intimidating as a sit down, like a full sit down gala. Really, it was a party, and we had just an amazing time together, celebrating as a community, and then obviously celebrating our award winners. Clearly, so Sarah made the slides, and she shared these with us when we did a run through, and I laughed, and then I was thinking about what this means. So our gala was Y2K themed. Again, this was a nod back to when RYP was founded in the early 2000s, and long story short, me and four other guys, three of which are on the board, and then a close friend of ours, decided to do this dance to the Backstreet Boys to celebrate Y2K. And again, when I was thinking about this picture, and I was thinking about why and what I could talk to that wasn't me, I really thought, like, this embodies to me what RYP is. I did not know 3 out of the 4 guys that I did this with before RYP. I met them mostly as a part of the board, and then obviously just one as somebody who came to events. And it was so meaningful to have this shared experience. And I know it's coming from my own experience with this silly dancing that we did. But I think what my point is here is our hope when you come to an RYP event is that you come, you meet people, you do something fun, whether it's hanging out at the yacht club, going to a museum, learning about an amazing nonprofit organization here in our city. And then it's that shared experience that brings us closer together. That is our hope, is that through shared experiences, you are building a stronger community, a stronger network, but also just building really solid friendships that will hopefully last for years and years. So silly, but it is meaningful. All right, the board. I'll start out by saying that the board, we are all volunteers, although at times it has felt like a second full-time job. We are all volunteers. And I cannot say enough amazing things about the people on this board. I've had the pleasure of serving on other boards and can confidently say this is by far the best board, the best group of people that I've been able to work alongside. I have found and been told that it is important to never be the smartest person in the room. And I can truly say that whenever I walk into an RYP event, an RYP board meeting, I am not. I am surrounded by people that are incredibly talented in just amazing ways, and they bring skills that complement mine, and hopefully I can complement theirs. But it is just this amazing feeling to be in a space where these people are just experts in their field, and they bring it with humility. And again, I just go back to, like, just don't be the smartest person in the room. I think that you will find great professional success if you live by that model. And really the mission of this board is you. We are here. We're the lucky ones that get to be a part of this board, but we work hard, and all of the work that we do is for you, the RYP community. So yeah, this is quick. I think I'll just let you kind of read through these. This is the why. And I also would just say, I know I'm running out of time, but the one last thing that I will say here is I was in a presentation yesterday, and they were talking about the importance of human connection. And there are literally actual health benefits to feeling connected to other humans. Coming out of the pandemic, it was weird. We're still trying to figure it out. But it is important to have human interactions and have community. And so if anything, just do it for your own health. But no, this is why we do it. This is a labor of love for the board, and we just are incredibly grateful that you are all here. So I'll take questions at the end if there are any, but thanks for being here, and sorry if I went too long, Sarah.
Thank you, Matt. And Matt, you are incredibly smart and talented as well. So you need to give yourself a little bit more credit, and also credit for your dance moves as well. So, but thank you so much. So I hope that that overview was meaningful for folks on the call, just to understand our history, where we're coming from, what we've done in the past, and what our hopes are for the future. So I do want to transition now into a conversation with some current RYP members that we have on the call. So all of these folks have taken the leap. They've come to their first RYP event. They've overcome that anxiety of, I'm not going to know anybody. And so I really am looking forward to hearing their perspectives. So let's jump in with our first question. I know we've already done introductions. So let's start with talking a little bit about your first RYP event. So if maybe we could go around, and I want everybody to kind of think back to that first event that you attended. And so maybe tell us, what was that event? And in your opinion, what was the deciding factor about why you decided to attend that event? So does anybody feel inclined to answer first?
I can go.
Yeah, go ahead. Samantha, kick us off.
Yeah, so I'm actually fairly new to RYP. I've been to, I think it's only been 2 events at this point, but I'm definitely looking forward to going to more. And I'm a year out of college, so I'm fairly new into the professional world. And so I actually learned about RYP, I think it was like 2 months after I graduated, and I was like, oh, I could go, I could not, but I don't know anyone. Like that was what was really holding me back, I feel like. And my first event that I went to was the RYP RPO social, where it was a networking social, and then you got to listen to some of the RPO. And I think it was part of the reason that I decided to go was I finally talked myself into it, that I was like, yes, this is the time. And then also at work, we were talking about like career development and networking a lot. And I'm like, I just need to do it. I need to do it once, rip the Band-Aid off, and then it'll be great. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And then I think Daniela, were you looking to share as well?
Yeah, I'd be happy to share. And thank you, Samantha, for sharing your perspective. I think it, like in alignment with what you noted, it is very difficult to attend things if you feel like you don't know anybody, or you're not like aware of what this like program would entail, or what this organization even is. The first barrier for me was exactly that. And luckily I have a great friend, Sarah, who's also on this call, who introduced me to RYP. So my very first event was the relaunch event that happened in 2025 in February. And I was hesitant to attend. I wasn't really sure the gist of Rochester Young Professionals. I was new to Rochester at that time, like really new. But one thing that helped me as well is having that companionship. So that event was very significant because going into that space, although I only knew one other person, I felt like there was a genuine connection happening, people that were connecting over sports, over volleyball, over different hobbies. And in that same event, funny enough, I ended up talking to somebody who happened to be from my same hometown in Mexico, which is crazy because it's a teeny little hometown an hour north of Mexico City. And we would just happen to talk about like our backgrounds, our experiences. I, at that time, was pursuing my master's in business analytics, and that person was also pursuing their master's in engineering management. And we were just talking about like school and balancing work and different things in school. And then that came up of like, oh, well, like I'm from Mexico. And she's like, me too. And that was really, really crazy. So it really was full circle for me going to this event, not knowing a single person, but like aside from Sarah, who graciously invited me to attend. And then making that connection from somebody who literally like my parents' family could probably know because of how small the town is. So that was really cool. And the community itself is something that keeps making me want to come back. And I would say for anyone on this call, if your first barrier is not knowing somebody there, I would gladly connect with anybody on LinkedIn and happy to attend an event alongside you if that's your first hesitation, because I do think it's a community that is very much so worth investing in and engaging with. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, when you told me that, I was like, what are the odds that that happens at this little, professional networking event in Rochester, New York? Thank you for sharing. Ole or Anthony, did you have anything to add to that?
Yes, I could add. Thank you for Samantha and Daniela for your points. My story was probably a little bit uniquer, I would say, because as I mentioned, I came from Ukraine like 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, and I'm staying in the United States. And I literally didn't know anyone. I was just coming there, and it was just one road without knowing anyone, without knowing anything. And there was just probably one aim, just to figure out. And coming to Rochester, I started looking for some like available options to build community. It was honestly very hard to find something and randomly I was probably scrolling LinkedIn or Facebook, and I found RYP. I just decided just to look at it. I scrolled and there was some upcoming event, and I've just decided to visit it. And to be honest, my first event was, I would say, very clumsy, because I'm original, not very social person in general, and as long as I remember myself. I'm glad because my sister was kind of encouraged me to go, to push me a little bit at the same time. So this day, when it was my first day probably visiting RYP event, yeah, I remember still this day because I was actually driving on my car, and that day my phone battery was completely dying on the way. I was a little bit stressed out. I was completely unsure if I need to turn back to home or I need to go to visit event. And at the same time, I was coming probably almost at the end. So just understand, I didn't know anyone and I'm just coming late, and my phone is dying. I was kind of shocked. What do I need to do in this case? So gladly I found the location, and I arrived almost, as I mentioned, people almost everyone has gone. And as you are coming on event, most people already building some circles around themselves, and it's a little bit harder to try to build connection or start some conversation, especially for me because I came from different country, and I had English barrier at the beginning. So it was quite uncomfortable, but I'm glad there was one girl who was just staying around the corner, and I just decided just to take my shot. If I came there, let's talk with someone. I was of course very, very, very stressed, very anxious, but I took my shot, and this girl was actually also from different country. I don't know why, maybe some coincidence, but we started conversation. I became more kind of like relaxed and more comfortable, and sooner I just started build more conversation with those people who still were staying, and this kind of interaction truly gave me some, like, I would say, passion and inner excitement to visit the upcoming events. So yeah.
Wonderful, thank you. And Ole, you've been to a number of events since too. I want to say you're an event frequent flyer at this point, and you're also on our kickball team that had their first. I know you weren't able to attend last night, but you are a member of the team, so that is something to be proud of as well. So I'm glad you were able to, find your place in the community and kind of help to find your footing in Rochester as well. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
I do want to transition just because I'm keeping an eye on time. I would love to hear, and I know Anthony, we haven't gotten to hear from you yet, so I would love to hear a little bit of your perspective. If you could tell somebody on this call who maybe hasn't attended an event yet or is feeling that apprehension, if you could give them one piece of advice or leave them with kind of a final thought, what would you say about coming and attending an RYP event?
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, I do a lot of events. Maybe I'm one of the only people on the call who went to the OG RYP before 2020 as the old dog here. But I sign up for every event I see and go to them. So I went to the RYP event at Black Button, the relaunch party. Saw a lot of familiar faces there, met a lot of new people. And since then, I've been coming to most every event I can go to. I sign up for all of them. I don't necessarily make all of them, but I sign up for all of them. And, I have lots of conflicts on my schedule. And if it's a conflict with an RYP event, I'm not going to be there. I'm going to be at my RYP event. And I think it would be encouraging to people here. These aren't scary faces, and this is not what it is. I mean, look at Matt's face. How can you be intimidated by that? And it's such a warm, welcoming group of people. I do have a lot of people I know there, and every event I show up to, I talk to people I know, but I always make a concerted effort to go over and meet somebody new, and I can sit here and go through all the events I've been at and tell you, who I spoke to there and new connections I've made. And it's really an opportunity for you to build, I think, a social network more than a professional one. And the professional network will follow, but it really does lead with that social aspect. And I think we're all just friends. I don't even think of it like going to a network event. I'm just have an excuse to cut out of work early and go hang out with my friends.
I totally agree. And I echo that with Anthony. I feel like it is a social network. It feels like a social network first and then a professional network second. And I think that is something that makes it so approachable, and we are a welcoming crew, and we love folks that want to join us and take advantage of all of the amazing things that we have to offer. So unfortunately, I know we could go on forever, but we are short on time. So I want to thank our panelists for their insights. I am going to share the panelists' contact info in a minute. So if you do have additional questions, or like Daniela said, if you're looking for a buddy, somebody to attend an event with, you will have access to our panelists' emails as well. So feel free to reach out to them. But thank you so much for your insights, and we are so glad that you are all members of RYP. So shifting now to Q&A. It looks like we didn't have any Q&A in the chat from our audience members, but I did have a nice anecdote, which was really great to see. Someone said, I signed up for an RYP event some time ago, but chickened out last minute. I'd probably try again, which is amazing. So that makes us so happy to hear that you are, feeling good about the potential of attending your first event. And I am now going to quickly transition into next steps and just pass it off to Emma, who's going to talk a little bit about how to engage with us and make that leap, stay connected with RYP.
Thanks, Sarah. And thank you everyone for hopping on. I know a lunch hour can be precious, so We hope to see you at future events. So the biggest question that I get from my network of people is, do I have to sign up for a membership? Yes, you do, but it's free of charge. So you just go to our website and join our email list, and you'll get our email blasts out. We do monthly newsletters. We also send reminders for all the events. You can access all of our events on our website. Most events are a small fee, anywhere from $5, $10, $15. Some are more. Gala, I don't even remember what our gala cost was, but it wasn't even like your typical gala cost. So there are some free events too. So make sure to check on those. And we don't make a profit on any of the funds that come back. It all goes back into the community and the events that we host for everyone. So we are a nonprofit. We are an organized nonprofit. Follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. That is a great way to stay in the loop if maybe your emails do get passed on to spam. Events will be posted on all social channels, and regularly updates for things that we do and are active in the community. So my suggestion would be to take a look at, sign up for the newsletters on our email list, and then take a look at our events page. We have some really good stuff coming up for the summer. As Matt said, the summer is the best one. I think our next event is it the Yacht Club, or we do have another one before then?
It is the Yacht Club.
Okay. Yeah. And that was a great event last year. It was a beautiful day for it. It was very highly attended. My first event was actually the relaunch party at Black Button. I looked into RYP back during COVID and saw that they were pretty inactive during the COVID time. And so when I saw the relaunch, I had to attend. All of our events are just, go up and talk to someone. I find it sometimes easier to go to events where I don't know someone, because it forces me to actually talk to people, right? If I go somewhere with someone I know, I sort of latch onto that person and maybe not branch out and talk to other people. So everyone's super warm and welcoming and friendly, and we don't bite, I swear. But yeah, you don't have to show up to events if you don't want to. There's no attendance required for the membership. It's kind of come as you are and come when you want.
All right, thank you, Emma. So as I said, these are all of our presenters. Here are our email addresses. So if you do have additional questions, feel free to send us personal emails if you are looking for a buddy or somebody to get their perspective, just a familiar face at an event. We're more than happy to chat. And thank you again to everybody that was here today to present, and also to the folks who took time out of what I'm assuming is probably a lunch break on this beautiful Friday to listen to us talk about this organization that we are also passionate about. So thank you again. And I am happy to hang out in the call if folks have any additional questions, but with that, if you need to go, I know that we did advertise this going till 12:45, so feel free to sign off. And I think Matt said he's able to hang around for a little bit too and answer additional questions. But thank you to everybody again, and we hope you have a good rest of your day and a wonderful weekend.
Bye. Thanks, everybody.
Great job, Sarah.
Thank you.
I'm happy to hang out.
Yeah, I can hang out too.
Same.
I'll be here just in case people. There were, I think, a few questions in the chat. I answered most of them. Let's see.
Hi, Amal. Good job, everybody.
Yeah. Looks like we still have a few folks. He's hanging. All right. I think everybody is gone.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Sure.
That was great. I apologize that we didn't have a ton of time for you all to chat,
My
but
bad.
I do think no, that was not your fault, Matt. You did an amazing job. But I do think that what you were able to share was very impactful. So we really appreciate it. And we appreciate you being here. And I can't tell if Anthony is frozen or if he's just very happy. But I think he's frozen. But thank you so much for sharing, and I hope we see you all at an event again soon.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
See you guys.
See ya.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.